Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from my socially distanced classroom here in Woodford County. And today what we're going to do is we're going to be developing a drawing file that looks very similar to this document for the part that we made in our last video. And the goal is to be able to make a document that we could send to a company that they could then manufacture that part for us. And so to do this, I'm going to go in, I'm going to develop a drawing file. So I'm going to click plus. I'm going to select create drawing file. You can pick any of these templates. I've got the FYE template there. I'll select OK. While it's loading, I do want you to know that this lesson is brought to you by Kroger brand Purell Gel. And if you just click it on your hands and wipe it in, it'll take some germs away, which I think is wonderful. Hope that you are staying clean and staying healthy. And so with that said, we can move on. It came up, it made it to where we can insert our part right off the bat. I'm going to actually get rid of that right off the bat and come back to it. So the first thing I want to do is, these are the different sheets that are in this. So if we had multiple sheets in that, they'd be all there. I'm going to go in, I'm going to check its properties and make sure that it's size A. And size A is just 8.5 by 11 paper. And so I know that if I print this off, it's going to come out the way I want it to. So now with that checked, I'm going to go in, I'm going to insert a part. It's going to show me what parts are currently open, which is the part that we have. I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to try to get the most descriptive view in my bottom left, which I think that is. And so if I wanted to change that, I can like modify it however I desire to here. But front is perfect for me. So I'm going to paste that right there. And then it will allow me to project some images. So there's my top view. And now I'm going to just double click this to go back into it and select my front view, go over here, and then get my isometric view up here. There we go. There we go. Cool. And so before I get going, I do want to, there's some features that are missing in this that I need to add in, and those are my hidden lines. And so to do that, I'm going to right click on my drawings. I'm going to get out of my project tool by clicking exit. I'm going to go in, I'm going to select show hidden lines, and show hidden lines. And then right here, I'm going to say show the shaded view just so it looks pretty. All right. So whenever we're dealing with a part that has a lot of round features in it, like this one is, we're going to go about and we're going to add in a lot of like center marks right off the bat. Just because I think they tend to be forgotten a little bit, so we can add that in there. Right, we can also add in one for the center line that between these two side posts, right? And there's also one way up here for that radius right there. I can then come over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add in my center line right there. Right, I'm going to add my center mark right there and right there. Back out a little bit, come back in. And again, I'm going to do my center line right there to right there. And that just allows the person that's manufacturing this part for me to know that they're looking at a round part. That's a round part looks very similar to a square part in a drawing if you don't know it. There we go. And there we go. And so those are all taken care of now. And so now I can go back and I can start adding in my dimensions. It's important to try and dimension things on the space that is the most descriptive. So for example, when we talk about how like wide this tube is, it's important to dimension it on the side where we see it as a circle. Just because that's where the manufacturer is going to want to see that information. I can see that my precision is super high, so I'm going to click here and I can change my precision down to 0.2, just because so that way it's a little bit smaller. Let's close that out. And let me get my shell size. There's other ways to note that, right? So we can say that the part is shelled or different ways to the manufacturer, but we're just going to like put the actual size in there. I think that'll be easier for this lesson. All right, so we've got our 3 depths, or our 3 circles right there. We're going to add a dimension of this, like the post coming off. And so to do that, we're going to select one of our sides, come off of our center point and go down. And you always want to try to center that right there in the middle, if you can. I'm going to get my other side here. There we go. And so now we know that those are 2.5 wide. And we can move forward. Let me move over to my front view. And so now in the front view, we can see that the most descriptive thing for me here is the length of this part. All right, so let's go ahead and grab that and pull it down. I'm going to leave it down a little bit so I have additional room to add some other dimensions. I'm going to go in and grab this one right here for my 2. So notice I could pull this off to the side, but it would be kind of weird because I wouldn't know it was a circle in that situation or a cylinder. I'm now going to pull in my dimension there, which is 0.5, and then I'm going to zoom in and get these right here. Back up a little bit. I'll take that down. I'll add another one. Notice that R there is for radius, and this circle with a line is for diameters. I do need to know how high that is above it. And so I'm going to just select here and select the center point on my circle. I do recommend a mouse whenever you're doing stuff like this because it's so easy to just like scroll in and out with that. Cool. So now I'm going to look at my top view, and really the only thing we've not defined is this top little peg here. And we just need to define really where it's located and the width of it. So I'm going to do that by clicking here and here. So I get my 0.5. And then I'm going to do the same thing between there and there. And see if I can get it. Yeah, that works. Ideally, I'd modify it so this 2.5 is above there, or I change the font size. That's going to work right now for us. Hey. I need to turn off my YouTube notifications. Once we have that, we can go down here and we can click into this and we can actually start modifying our text. So this part right here is just called the launcher. All right, delete, 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 delete. And we're going to say this is the 103 project. Doop, 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 doop. 103 semester project. There we go. I'm just going to delete this top one because it's not really needed. Oh. Perfect. All right, and now it looks real professional. I did an autofill on that, but you can just go through and modify that text. If you want to get into how to autofill drawing templates in Onshape, there are places online that can show you how to do that. But it's just handy if you're going to do it consistently. So once I have that, I'm now going to go through and I'm going to export it. And I want to export it as a PDF. Right there, select export. It's going to allow me to download it, and I can share that with my team and make a combined document. And so we're good to go.